So, good evening and welcome to our V8 pre-World Final interviews. We're nearing this year's World Final at the Odsal Stadium in Bradford. Joining me are some of the drivers who have gained points, earning their place on that all-important World Final grid. So, with me, Dave and Matt. Good evening.
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 So, leading up to this year's World Final, how has that gone for you? I'm going to go to Matt first.
Yeah, it's gone quite well, to be fair. I mean, I sort of class myself sometimes as a bit of a part-time racer. I kind of do the racing as and when I can. So to be honest, I've gone up the grid quite well, actually. I'm on row 9 at the moment, which is a bonus. So it's I seem to have picked the right meetings to be able to get enough world qualifying points to be quite well up in the grid. So happy with it, really.
And what about you, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, the qualifying didn't start very well for me because the first meeting which counted was October 2019 at Kings Lynn. And as you can remember, there were 4 cars upside down in heat 2 and I was one of them. So that paid 20 points after the first heat. So I've basically been playing catch up since then. But it's gone. I've just been getting a few points here and there, and it's seen me quite well up the grid. So I'm quite happy.
So, Matt, you're on row 9. Dave, you're on row 10. So how for the final, do you think that will affect your chances?
To be honest, I mean, there's a lot of people sort of saying that it might be almost a bit like Stoke was a couple of years ago, where the first bend sees the first eight rows sort of all piled into the first bend anyway. So being a bit further back might actually be the better option. To be honest, it could be one from the back this year. So you never know, but there's plenty of quick races out there and plenty of people that know how to use the bumper. So it'll be definitely an interesting one. But like I said, it's all depends on what happens on turn 1 and whether people give it the big push or not, really.
And Dave, for you on row 10, how do you think that's going?
Yeah, well, I'm quite happy because the last time my car was on row 10 in the World Final, it won it when Chris Brasher was handling it. So I know the car's capable of doing it, or it was a few years ago. But I looked at it this way: it's a World Final, it's on shale. There'll be, I would think, quite a bit of pushing and shoving going off, and anything can happen in the first few rows, especially the first couple of laps.
So, Dave, you've had 2 meetings at Bradford so far this year. Matt, you've had 1. How have you found those?
Are you asking me or
I'll
Matt?
ask you first, Dave. Today.
Dave, I'll let Dave go.
Right. The first meeting when we raced with the F1s, the track hadn't been laid long, and there was a lot of very slippery clay at the bottom, which made it quite entertaining. For the second meeting, they've spent quite a lot of time and money sorting the track out, putting gravel on it and making it a lot slippier. And the second meeting, there was a lot more grip, so it wasn't quite as lethal as it was the first time we were out there. So I think they are getting there with the track.
How about you, Matt?
To be honest, but like shale's not usually something I sort of race. I've only been out once on shale this year, and to be honest, it was kind of just Bradford was the sort of the big up and coming track and all that sort of stuff. Good to have it back and everything. So I thought, yeah, you know what, we'll go out and see if we can have some fun, and had a bit more fun than what I thought I was going to be honest. And looking forward to the world final on it now. To be honest, it's quite a good track. Like Dave said, it was it's had a lot of work done to it, and from what I've heard, the first meeting was still a bit slippy, but by that second meeting, it was I quite enjoyed it, to be honest. I know some people still were saying it needs a bit more work, but I suppose if I don't race shale off, and I can't really compare it too much. But like I said, I went out and I had a right blast, and looking forward to it, and looking forward to hopefully having a good meeting and smile on my face at the end of
it. The all important part. So, what are your thoughts on the final grid? Take that to Matt first.
It looks like a good grid, to be fair. I mean, the first couple of rows are obviously, sort of a quick amount of races and stuff like that. But like I said, it could be sort of everyone gives it the good old heave ho in the first bend, and you never know what could happen. It could be end up the first couple of rows end up sort of all tangled up, and hopefully, if no yellows come out, you could just sort of slip through and off you go, sort of thing. So it could be anyone's race, to be honest. It's quite an interesting grid, and like I said, with the track being the way it is and everything, and everyone sort of, it seems like this year there's a lot of races that sort of are in contention for it, and there's a lot that will be ready to sort of give it the good hits and all that sort of stuff. So definitely be an interesting race to watch.
Okay, what about your thoughts, Dave, on that grid?
Well, if you look at the first two rows, I believe it's all four superstars are on the first two rows, I think, aren't they? Which is going to be quite entertaining, I would think, in the first couple of corners, because they'll all be wanting to survive. So it'll give the ones behind a bit better chance. So there's one or two dark horses in it. There's the likes of Guy. You can never discount him on Shale. And behind, in fact, 2 rows behind me, there's a certain Luke Moore who's only raced once this year. And on a good day with a good car, Luke is very, very good. So you could never discount people like him coming through from the back.
Okay, so who do you think has the best chance of winning this year then? Can I take that, Dave?
If you went on previous performances, it would probably be Kev, because he's inside front. But he's got John behind him, and then Ollie. I think Ollie's there as well, along with 2 or 3 more Andy lads just behind. So I really wouldn't like to do. If it's a straight race and people don't get put in on the first corner, I would say somebody off the front row, and I suspect, providing the car's going right, Neil would probably be the favourite. But it's a world final. It's on Shell, so anything can happen.
Okay, what about you, Matt?
It's an interesting grid. Like I said, it sort of all depends on what happens in the first couple of ends, to be honest, whether everybody got put in and some of the big names are taken out of it straight away, which I'm sure some of them will be possibly wanting a little bit for their own sort of benefit. But obviously it just depends whether it goes that way or not. I mean, Ollie's been really sort of, outperforming throughout this year. So he had a really good meeting there at Bradford last time. So, I mean, Kev's on pole position. So again, if Kev gets away, John Brown's been there, Steve's on, all the top 4 basically, if they get away, they can walk away with the rest of the race, to be honest. So just depends how the bumpers come in and sort of lady luck on their side, whether it works out or not really. So, but like we said, it's an interesting grid, and it could be somebody from further back that just manages to slip through. And, while everybody else is sort of tangled up and having a pop at each other, they could quite happily just sort of make it off and off you go sort of thing. There's a good amount of sort of good trail races that are on a decent position on the grid and could easily just walk away with it if they get the right opportunity.
So on a personal note then, what are you hoping to achieve? I'm going to go to Matt first.
To be honest, world finals don't really seem to go my way. I think I can't remember if I've done 4 or 5, and I think I've only finished 1. So to get over the finish line would be a bonus. But everyone's always wanting the top spot. It'd be nice too. But for me, top 10 it'd be sort of quite nice. Like I said, to actually sort of finish the race is always a nice one to start with. But top 10 would be quite happy with it. It'd be a good race for me. That so we'll see.
Okay, what about you, Dave?
Well, I've done 2 world finals before, both on tarmac. Managed to finish both. I've always done better on shale than I have on tarmac. So with all the carnage in front, hopefully I might be able to pull through and do a bit better. So I'm looking forward to it, providing the car keeps going, which I'm sure it will, because it's a lot of work done to it. And we've sorted out the problems from Bradford last time we were there. And I think it'll go all right. And like I say, that car's actually won 3 world finals anyway. So if it's set up right and it's driven right, I need to borrow somebody else's brain called Chris, in there. So.
Just be a bit braver on some of those incidents.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would winning mean to you personally? I'm going to go to Matt first.
I mean, it'd be a great achievement. Like I said, I sort of class myself sometimes as a bit of a sort of a part-time racer. So to be able to sort of get up to, I mean, I'm up to blue top now, which is an achievement in itself for me, because like I said, I don't really do many meetings. So to be able to sort of show that, just even though I'm a part-time racer, I can still sort of mix it with the best and show that I've got the speed. If the car's there and I'm there, then, definitely wanting for contention for the top spot. So, at the end of the day, everyone's out there to win it, and it'd be lovely to be able to come out with a gold proof.
And Dave, if you won it, what would that mean to you?
Oh, It mean I probably won't have to retire this year. I'd have to go another year just to keep going. But I can hear laughter behind me from a certain lady of the pit crew who I'm married to. So it would mean a hell of a lot if I won it. I mean, it'd mean a hell of a lot if I won any race, because I've never won one in my career ever. So the highest place I've ever been is third. So winning anything would mean the world to me.
Brilliant. Well, good luck to you both for Bradford, and thank you for talking with me this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, and good luck to everybody else that's in the race.